and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Ken Saroka. Tonight we'll be discussing the winter sports season at East Brunswick High School, and I'm joined in studio by Frank Noppenberger, Supervisor of Athletics for East Brunswick Public Schools. And Frank, the weather outside is beautiful now after going through all that hellacious snow we've had. But the winter sports season was very hot there. We had a lot of success in the winter sports season, and probably because I guess it was the winter time, it kind of flew under the radar screen, I guess, as everybody was too busy shoveling out. One of the sports, boys track. Now we don't associate a lot with winter track, indoor track. But for the viewers, can you explain how many meets and where these meets take place? If we're all shoveling out from snow, where are these athletes practicing? What are they doing?
Right. Before we get into that, I'd like to just thank you, Ken, for volunteering your time and helping us out with the winter season, for helping doing the show, and especially the EBTV. I thank them for everything they do for the coverage of our athletes. And that's on behalf of the coaches, parents, and certainly the athletes. Okay, winter track. We train outside as much as possible on the track, but it's been covered with snow. So just like most schools, we improvise. We'll run the hallways, the terminal, which you're familiar with, which is a real good workout because there is an incline there.
Yeah, and if you don't watch out, you're coming out of your classroom, going right into the terminal, and boom.
Well, no, we don't do that
there,
till late in the day is when we run. And it's an incline. I think it's almost 20 feet of an incline, so we got to work out there. For years we've been running on the range when it's dry, so we get our workouts. And every weekend there's usually a big, or during the week, a Friday, a big invitational. They run at the Bennett Center at Toms River, the Armory in Jersey City, and this year we ran twice at Petty, the local school. So there are some places for them to get some competition in, but training, as you said, is a challenge.
Is it something where the track athlete in the spring can easily adapt to the competitions indoors, like the runners on an indoor track, perhaps a smaller track, bank track? The athletes who are throwing, like with Sam with the shot. Is it a way? I mean, is it hard to transition?
That's a good question. I believe it's a harder transition because you do more running outside than inside. To go into the inside is a transition. You learn to run more of the corners because obviously they're shorter in between. But they're athletes and they can run, and the times aren't usually as good, but they make that adjustment. But we had a great winter season as far as the boys were concerned, so we didn't see much of a fall off. The spring season starts in 3 days, and then I think it'll carry over. The winter success will carry over to the winter. But let's winter track real quick. Maybe the best ever in East Brunswick history, and certainly the best under Coach McAvoy, who's our coach for 28, 30 years. He was Coach of the Year this year by the division and the conference, so congratulations to Coach Mack. We were the state champs Group 4, and we were also the relay champs, all right, first time in the school history. And a lot of that has to do with our 4x4 relay team, and that's Evan Walton, Leonard Robbins, Dan Urschel, and certainly Tom Mercanti. They won points every time they ran, took a gold medal, or in second. They were second in the Tournament of Champions this past Saturday down there. Sam Mattis, he's no new name to athletes, to shot putters in the area. He may be the second best shot putter in the state. He got a lot of gold medals in first. And Alex Malvarou, who got a very important point for us in the hurdles to win that Group 4 title. So they were the backbone of that state championship team.
Well, the story I heard about the Group 4 title was the relays with Coach McAvoy was telling me about the I think it was Cherry Hill team.
Yep.
Ran their best runner first rather than the anchor leg, and thought that they could just simply blow out to a big lead and run away and hide. And here's our best runner,
last.
Leonard running last and having to make up some ground, although we kept pace, and just blowing by the guy there in the last lap.
That's a strategy. You have to have a strategy. You look at your time and you say, well, there's no way I can beat them. Our best time is, so you look at a way, and my hat's off to their coach to trying to come up with a different strategy to possibly beat them. So, they're running the Easterns today, and good luck to them, and I can't wait for the spring to see these guys take off.
And that's been something that's been developing, I guess, over a couple of years, moving beyond the couple of winners here or there, but to be consistent, placing everywhere we go. It seems to be that is developing with our track program.
And, on a side note there, for all those out there that don't think track or in sports will help you get into a college, I was on the phone a half hour today with the University of Connecticut men's coach, and he was talking about, of course, Leonard, and talking about Evan, about what they're like and possibility of running there, and he's very interested in them. And University of Connecticut is coached by Greg Roy, a former EB guy, and they won the Big East, so that's a quality program that may give these guys educational opportunities.
Any news from the girls' side of the winter track season?
Well, we had a tough season. The girls didn't have an outstanding track athlete, and when you go to the invitationals, you have to have an outstanding athlete to score a lot of points. Okay, if not, because if you do a lot of second, third, fourth, fifth finishes, if you don't have that outstanding kid, you're not going to win. You're not going to get the title. However, in a dual meet, I felt we would have been very good, but the weather prevented that. Bianca did a great job for us in the winter this year. Sarah Frost, a freshman, she ran in the States. She'll be one of our better runners in the future, the next few years. Moini Friedman provided outstanding leadership for us and a work ethic that the underclassmen can certainly follow as a role model. And Safit Mohammed also competed for us in the sprints down at the Bennett Center. So no outstanding athletes, but again, they were competing and they were getting ready, hopefully, for a good spring.
From the track to the pool, we talk about the swimming programs here. Coach Jeff Sundberg coaching both boys and the girls here. Okay seasons, I guess, or?
Well, they both qualified for the states, so that's one of the top 8. So you're one of the top 8 in the section. Boys were 7-4, the girls were 5-5, but that's swimming against 2 to 3 of the best. We swam Hunter and Central, we swam Westfield, we swam St. Joe's, South Brunswick. And if you look in the top 10, they're all in there, or the top 20. So we didn't back off from anyone, and it only makes us a better swimming team. The boys and the girls did very well in the finished in the top 3, both in the boys and the girls in the GMC. The boys, Trevor Endler, maybe our most outstanding swimmer, he's running. He's swimming in the TSC this weekend, the 100 breaststroke. And our medley relay team, let me mention them, they're also competing. We had Greg James is doing the backstroke. Trevor's also doing the breaststroke and the relay. Jake Katov is he's an 11th grader, he's doing the butterfly. And Viket Mayam is doing the freestyle. So it's a group of juniors mixed in with a senior that's going to, I don't know if they're going to medal out there, but they certainly needed their names mentioned for leading us in swimming. Girls, same thing, swimming. A very good year. A lot of people would love to have that record of 500 competing against the best schools around. And my hat's off to Victoria Glassick, who was a 9th grader, all division, all conference. And Kylie Sudam did a great job at providing leadership for us. It's a real challenge to be a swimmer, because that getting on the bus, driving to the college, coming back takes a lot out of you.
Now, wait a minute. I thought that was the standard ruse to tell sophomores as they were entering EBHS that over there somewhere tucked in a corner was a swimming pool.
The swimming pool's downstairs.
Downstairs now, okay.
Yeah, that's been there since I got here in '77, the pool, but no one has seen it since. But some people still think we have the swimming pool.
Well, when they were constructing the new addition on the front of the building, I was teaching in the front there, and when they were digging that hole for the subterranean gym, when the rains came, it did fill up, so we were joking that was the pool.
Someday maybe. I don't know when, but someday I'd love to see a pool. And my goal would be every elementary school student would take it, and they'd have to travel from one end of the pool to the other in the water. Backstroke, side stroke, I don't care. But just get them used to being in the water and learning to swim.
Okay, let's now shift our attention to basketball here. One of the things I noticed when I was broadcasting the boys' game against South Brunswick, I came early to watch the JV game. we have size, which is one of the things I haven't noticed on at least the JV level, that is going to work up its way to the varsity, and that's an encouraging sign when you see that. No, we've always had those, those crafty point guards who could play a shutdown defense, but when it comes to the big man in the middle, we have now a crop of them developing.
We got two at the varsity level. Mike Summer, he's a junior who's probably 6'4", but big. He's getting better and bigger every day. He's more comfortable out there. He's a junior. And Ukawaba Bob is just doing a great job for us. He's only a sophomore. He's on the radar already by a lot of colleges. He's only a sophomore. He was all division and all conference, so Rob is going to be a great player, and that's our inside people. They're backed up by Goodzak. On the JV level, we got some size. We got 3-4 kids in there. They're about 6'4", 6'5". They can all dunk. And they led the JV team to a first ever 21-0 record by the JV boys, and they won the East Brunswick Invitational, which had 31 teams in it this year. And we had teams from Hudson County, we had teams from Somerset County, and of course a lot of Middlesex. So Coach Mott and those JV kids are really going to give the varsity a run for the money next year as juniors. But the varsity this could be one of our best ever. I'm not trying to jinx anyone. Last night in the first round of the States, we played and beat a very good South Brunswick team. Tomorrow night we'll play Rancocas Valley, who some people think is the best in Central Jersey. But Joey Ross came back from having, some health issues with the lung, and he had like 6 good points for us. He had a 3, maybe 7 points for his 2 foul shots at the end. Rob had his usual good game. Mike Summer was real tough inside. Nicky Goodzak plays a great day. And then we have Amir Bell, who's a freshman who's starting for us. So not only are we putting together 2 20-win seasons in a row, but we have the nucleus coming back for next year. Plus that JV group, the freshman group made it to the semifinals of the county tournament. So boys basketball under Bo Henning, we're in pretty good shape.
Now, girls, not quite as good a season, but a struggle, I guess, developing talent here.
Well, you said about the point guard. We had 3 point guards, okay? We had Elise Rohan, Cassie Riccio, and Shannon Nolte, 3 kids that have been the heart and soul of our girls basketball team for the last 4 years. Unfortunately, they didn't win any titles, but they had many big games, many big upsets. They upset Edison, the number 2 seed, again in the tournament in the first round. So we made it to the quarterfinals. But you couldn't ask more from those 3 kids, Elise, Cassie, and Shannon, for their commitment to the program. And we lack some height at the varsity level, and the girls, you need it. Hopefully the future will be much better for our girls. Our 8th grade team did a real good job for us. The freshman girls made it to the finals of the county tournament. But Cassie, Elise, and Shannon, thank you for all the memories you provided for us.
One of the things that the late Phil Hill and I talked about before one of the girls' broadcasts a couple of years ago was the demise of the AAU or the basketball programs here locally that were the feeders, especially in the girls' side. Now, you have talented athletes, as you mentioned, but they're multi-sport athletes. They're not specialists in basketball.
Right. Which you need. You need basketball players playing basketball all year round. Although some of Bo's kids or other athletes, but Joey Ross just basketball, Rob just basketball, Anthony Gusti just basketball. Goodzak will play too. Amir Bell's supposed to be a good baseball player. Summer will do lacrosse and basketball, but the nucleus is just basketball, and that's what you need because it's so competitive and it's such a skill-driven. Just like our girls in soccer play soccer all year round. You need that in basketball.
And then by the time they change over to the basketball, their muscles don't have that basketball memory.
Exactly.
That they're not into that mode yet.
That's why we play better at the end of the year, because it took a while to get into that mode. You're absolutely right. How about bowling?
Bowling. I wish I could get to Carroll Lanes a lot more than I have in the past, because I enjoy that. It's a good recreational sport, but when you see the success that we've had you have to be encouraged because this program started out and it was kind of the kids who weren't in anything else kind of sports.
Yes and no. We were a good one year, the next year, very good the next year. We were peaks and valleys, especially with the boys. But we did have our great bowlers. The Hastings kid was
Walter
Hastings was outstanding. But for the last 3 years under Jeff Elias, our boys have been sectional state champs. I'm not sure if any of the other sports at East Brunswick, with the exception of boys gymnastics, has been a sectional champ for 3 consecutive years. And that's a credit to Jeff and the way he develops the kids and promotes the program and really cares about them. And the camaraderie that he's developed with those bowlers is outstanding. Let me just mention 3 of the boys who led us to this outstanding division championship and another Central Jersey Group 4 championship. Danny Holleran, Charlie Reiser, and John Burke. They all flirted with and or bowled the 300 during the year, and maybe in a later show we'll be able to tell you which one got the 300, who got the 299, and then we'll have them tell you about that last ball and how exciting it was. And then the girls won their division, and the GMC does not recognize winning the division like they should. Division is very important because that shows your consistency from the first game of the year to the last game of the year. And if you win your division, you're consistently good. Tournament time, you can just get hot. Okay, of course, you're the conference champ then, but the consistency of being the best all 20 matches or games or events is more important. So the girls bowling, congratulations to the girls on a Red Division championship. And as you and I were talking about, Morgan Brown, state champ. Last year she was second. This year she's the best, the #1 bowler in the state of New Jersey.
For the viewers who don't know or didn't read the story that was told in the newspapers,
go ahead.
Special circumstance with Morgan, with her mother passing about a month before the state tournament. Do you have a chance to kind of feel from Coach Elias how that either her mom's passing influenced or shaped Morgan at the end?
I think she dedicated the season to her mom. Her and her mom were very close, and I think she just use that as a way of concentrating more on the bowling. Now that bowling's over, I'm sure she'll be fine. She's getting ready for the college scene soon. She'll be going to Fairleigh Dickinson on a bowling scholarship in September. But I'm sure she misses her mom, but she had a great support group around her, all the bowlers and the parents, and especially Coach Elias.
Now, last year she was an individual finalist, but if I remember correctly, last year in the stepladder kind of tournament where the 4 plays the 3 and that winner plays the 2 and then that winner plays the 1, she was seated first at that very end and kind of had to sit around and wait for 3 other matches to transpire before. This year she was the 4th, if I remember right, and had to stepladder up.
And it probably helped her to stay focused rather than losing it, maybe thinking about her loss, with the mom and whatever. But the girl she's a great captain. She's one of our captains. She's a great leader, and I just can't say enough about her, how she fought through that adversity and just did a great job. And we're going to miss her. She's one of the best around for 4 years.
Do these kids bowl
all year
leagues? Round? They do bowl in leagues?
All year round.
Okay.
I saw her the other day. I said, "You bowling?" She goes, "Oh, absolutely, Mr. Knopp." She's down that alley all the time, different leagues, different tournaments, and it's a camaraderie. It's a group. It's like this group's got AAU basketball or travel soccer. The bowlers, they just love it, and it's a great camaraderie. It's a great sport for kids, and you learn very quickly to be humble, because a couple bad pins, a couple bad balls, and you're out of it already. That's how competitive it is. And it's nice when anyone's getting near that 300, it's almost like the whole lane shuts down. Everybody watches and cheers for that individual.
So I'm somewhat surprised because in East Brunswick, we lost a few years ago when the Mid-State Mall remodeled. We lost our own bowling lanes. And now there's only, I think, Carolina is the only place maybe close but enough by.
Yeah, but they're always down there. Our kids are always bowling, and Elias makes the young ones bring a friend, and part of your social life is bowling. And but all this credit about the bowlers, yes, they're great, they're very good, they're dedicated, but it's under Elias's leadership has made us so successful.
Well, let's take a time out here from discussing the sports and talk about Phil Hostler and the athletic trainers and the student trainers that work with him, and you know, these kids who are preparing for a potential job opportunity somewhere as a physical trainer with teams, with colleges. Phil does a wonderful job working with these kids, not just him, but it's his student helpers there.
Well, as you know, one of the trainers for the Giants is Lee Weiss, who is one of Phil's kids. He's got trainers at South River, at Scotch Plains, Rumson Fairhaven, Long Branch. He's got them all over the place. He's just great with those kids. But Phil and he's doing most of it. We're working on some concussion education, concussion policies, procedures, because that's in the news all the time. So he and I are very busy with that. Phil is always proactive with any hot topic, and we're lucky to have Phil on our staff.
Can you discuss some of those concussion policies? I mean, we hear a lot about the news. I mean, the passing of Bears defensive back Dave Dewerson from a suicide related possibly to the tremendous brain injuries from playing football. Can you discuss what we're looking at toward policy changes?
The procedures are set in there, and we're just going to have to follow them. For instance, if you complain that you have a headache and it's deemed a concussion, you can't get back into play until you go to a doctor, and the doctor's going to give you like 3 weeks, and then you got to be cleared by him. They'll give you a test, and everyone's very concerned about that now. And there's a lot of people out there now that may shy away from contact sports as a result of concussions. The NFL, they're all looking at different helmets. They're looking at different rule changes about when you can hit, when you can't hit. So no one's looking at it, lightly. We're taking it serious, but Phil's a leader. I know he's writing he's written a book on it, and when it's all together, I think East Brunswick will be a leader in the policy and procedures.
Now, some of the busiest athletes during the fall and the winter seasons are the cheerleaders. They are constantly in motion here. Games, wrestling matches, volleyball, or
we've added competition to their list of things to do, and this Sunday they're going down to the state championships. They've competed twice already. They took a second and a third in other competitions, and we'll see how they do this year. It's a really fun thing for the kids. So not only do they cheer all the games and do their dance, now they're involved in competition. And just like it's Bo's state playoff or Katie's upset win, this is their big day. So I wish the cheerleaders and co-captains Bella Toto and Vicky Brower the best of luck. You've been a great group this year, and I'm very proud to say you're our cheerleaders.
Okay. And our last sport on our list here is the wrestling team, Coach Matt Pazinko. The Pazinko name famous in East Brunswick wrestling.
Still going on. We have two kids going down to the States. We got John Schleifer, who's a ninth grader down there. He's the only freshman in his weight class. He's only got one loss. That was at the Bear Invitational, like the third or fourth match of the year. And that was, I think, through experience. Coach Inazzo, who says we have a great JV program and great JV kids, he said the guy is great at technique, John. That's his success. The secret of his success is technique. And he's a very hard worker, and he's always trying to get better. Then we have Julian Quinton, star football player, who's going down to Atlantic City in the States. They have a shot. Julian has a shot, and you never know. But it's quite an honor to have those two representing East Brunswick. But we have a group of kids that were at the regionals just recently, and you win the regionals or take a first, or a second, that's how you go down to the States. I mentioned Michael Kane, who's a 10th grader. So John's a freshman. Michael Kane's a 10th grader. He took a third. He took a third at the regionals, okay, and he was out most of the year. He was hurt, but he's going to be a great wrestler for us. Julian Quinton, I mentioned already. Mike Nicolero, he was fourth, I believe, at the regions, but he was at the region tournament. Michael Quinton, Jules' younger brother, ninth grader, Okay, he made it to the regions, and another 10th grader, Eric Weber, made it to the regions. So of the 5 kids, 6 kids we had to go to the regions. There was only 1 senior. So I think we're in pretty good shape with wrestling.
Last year at this time, I remember there was some controversy with that tournament in Atlantic City with the governor and the NJSIA commissioners getting involved with some dispute over tickets and whether or not there would actually be any future tournaments. Have they resolved their little turf wars there?
No, absolutely not. It's not resolved, and the money is going to be the lack of money is going to affect the NJSIA, who is our governing body and do a great job. The prices for down there are very inexpensive, and I'm not sure if they can continue going down there after this year.
Would it be a matter of changing venues for some of these state championships?
Well, they used to go to, well, you need like 8 mats. You need 8 mats because you have all these kids wrestling, all these regions, hundreds and hundreds of kids. And so you need 8 mats, so you need a place to put the mats, and at the same time, you need a place where it can hold a lot of people. Our wrestling tournament is big. I mean, people just
See, I don't think people understand that how big this tournament is. I mean, they know about the state basketball tournaments, the Tournament of Champions, or the football playoff games.
That convention center will be mobbed. You won't be able to get in, and if you do get in, it's going to be way up top, and you won't be able to see anything. But New Jersey wrestling is very, very, very respected throughout the country. Look what he's done at Rutgers just recently.
Yeah, I was going to say Rutgers
Jersey guys, but we have a great reputation in New Jersey as being a great supporter of wrestling. And if you'll see on the TV, in the newspaper, that all you'll see in the news for those 3 days is about the wrestling.
Have you ever thought how many different athletes in a course of a year, different students participate in athletics? From the high school at least, the 10th, 11th, 12th graders with the occasional freshman. How many different students participate in athletics?
Well, we're in the thousands. There are some that over 1,000. There are some, Ken, that do 3 sports, and the question is, do you count them 3 times, do you count them once? But basketball, you figure just boys basketball in the 8th grade, you got 15 kids. 9th grade, I think we're up to 16. Mark at JV's probably got 15, and Bo keeps around 14 kids. Plus the managers, and that's just basketball, tiny. McAvoy and Merrigan in track, they got about 60, 70 kids each on the team. Swimming, we got about 54 kids, 53 kids on the team. Every sport has a lot of kids. In every sport, there are a lot of, if it weren't for that sport, they wouldn't be competing. They would not be competing. And that's what's good about East Brunswick, and that's what's great about our Board of Education and everyone that supports athletics. We provide these different opportunities. If we didn't have swimming, those 54 kids, they wouldn't be doing any other sport.
Right.
Or those 70 kids in track.
And we'd like to thank once again the EBTV technical crew for coming out and broadcasting all seasons of sports. We look forward to broadcasts of lacrosse, at least I do, because I'll be doing lacrosse games in the spring. But we'd like to thank them for coming out and supporting East Brunswick High School athletics. And if you have the time to come out during the spring season, the wonderful athletic facilities here at East Brunswick High are available. Most of the sports, I think all the sports in the spring, are free to come out and watch. Our baseball fields, our lacrosse fields, are very well taken care of. They're beautiful. Come on out and support East Brunswick High School athletics. For Frank Noppenberger, I'm Ken Saroka. Thank you for joining us.